Hey there, Saltydayn here, and I want to make a quick video about my Aurabot Mercenary combo for like solo players, especially here, as you can see in solo self-found. This is just some footage from a stream which I want to pull up as some sort of gameplay and background so you can see sort of what this looks like. I did this purely to level. Right, it's just a basic breach leveling tree. I will have all of this in the description as always. There's some more resources as well as my atlas sheet, for example. And basically, it's just an occultist. There's nothing special about this. You can do far, 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 far better, like twice, 5 times, 10 times better on any real Aurabot Guardian, Scion, or even Champion. Right, all of them work remarkably well and way, way better than occultist that actually doesn't have anything. I could have been Understanded Witch and it would be the same. Okay. Basically, what we're using here is using very, very basic Aurabot gear, like Victorious Body, Son of Sin Eater, for some level 30 smites, just some Anger, Wrath, Auras, and we're using stuff like Piscator's Vigil on the Mercenary. I'll show the gear in a second, I just want to see in background. Like, this is really, really good, because the funny thing here is, your Mercenary will just teleport all the time behind you and reset its attacks. So if you're fast enough, you can just walk through the breach and it'll just pop everything. With of course, some items that allow that. For example, this tip I'm pretty sure I used Impulsors together with the Asana Stranger Touch Gloves, and in my later setup, a bit further into the future, when I finally got the ring after like 10s and 20s of skills or something from the boss, the Invitation of Fear, whatever it was, for the Soul Eater ring, I skipped the Impulsors because it was just messing with the Asanas from time to time, and it was way crazier. I could probably clear tier 17s on this, and again, this is not an Aurabot character, right? I'll show you in a second what this is, but yeah, I hope this gives you some insight on this. Be reminded, however, the single target damage is terrible. It works, it is good, but like for my sense, it's like you take like 10 to 30 seconds on bosses, sometimes even a minute if they have some sort of region or very high defenses, because I didn't really put together really good stuff here. I just want to show this because this is probably the most fun I've had ever leveling in Path of Exile. It is insane. It's remarkable. So yeah, let's go through the character just real quick and I'll show you my decisions here and things you could improve massively. So the main concern I had for me leveling was mostly defense. This is why I opted into User's Fallen. I just had this lying around. Be reminded, this is just solo self-found. I found this very early, so I was like, why not use it? You could use an Aegis, you could just use any shield that gives you the 30% reservation. That's any Hunter or Shaper shield. It's not too easy to hit that mod, also not too uncommon either, so you should be able to get any of these shits on trade for like 10, 15, 20 chaos maybe, and just use stuff like Determination and Grace, for example. You can also use stuff like Flesh and Stone to at least resolve your melee damage hits a bit. Stuff like Tempest Shield and Arctic Armor work well as well. Of course, I have the POB in the description for this character as well, so for my mercenary that I've been using. Right here, just Scene Eater linked with faster attacks, together with Generosity and Leap Slam. I use Leap Slam and fast attacks, obviously, for moving. You can also use Shield Charge, it's probably also fine. I just found Leap Slam more chill, to be honest. Generosity, just because we only want the Smite aura here, or the part of Smite, to affect a mercenary. We don't care about the damage, so we can just increase it by linking Generosity in here. Of course, this doesn't need to be linked to Leap Slam, keep that in mind. Then in the helmet, I opted in to use Thorough Purities, just over 20s. Again, this is like a complete bullshit character, right? Nothing here is really designed properly. This is just what I found in my stash, okay? I didn't plan to play an Aurabot in solo self-found. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever said, and the most ridiculous thing I've ever done in a long time, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's just purities in here. I had a level 4 Enlightened, so I used this just to cover up my reservation a bit, so I didn't have to take more reservation stuff on a tree, or like jewels and stuff like that. Just Pocket Store, because most of our damage is like lightning based on the mercenary, so I figured just give him lucky damage. You could also do something else, reservation stuff here as well. Many more options. I utilized 2 Vendor Scambots just for reservation as well. They also help somewhat with the resistances, but again, also the rarity here doesn't matter because you will never kill anything, so it's totally fine to have reduced rarity on these. Just one reservation is fine. Some res would be beneficial. Then I used the 7 leak steps, as I mentioned before. What our goal was here technically is to be very fast, that the mercenary will just spawn behind us, always attacking us resets, always resetting his attacks, sorry, and just go and blast those breaches open. You could also opt for something like Rainbow Strides or actual good boots. I just figured I'd do this. They are linked to the Domination, Moderation, Flameling, just so I don't have to recast my Flameling all the time. However, I found out that when you use stuff like Frostblink with the Flameling, it sometimes tends to break and he just doesn't teleport. Kind of weird. Again, this isn't really designed to be good and was still more than enough. It took me like 2 hours to level from level 68, 65 something to level 90 plus, or like 3 hours to 95. So it works, okay, even though it's trash. Then Chaos Binding, just some defense. It helps as well for the Mercenary as well for us, but the Mercenary honestly never really had any problem with anything. He just never died. It was super, super tanky. Then I'm using the Hand of Fresh here. Again, this makes sure that our auras always are in range of Mercenary, and they also increase auras while we have a linked target. I'm using the Arrogance support in here together with Vitality and Clarity and Sniper's Mark, though mind you, this doesn't work because I don't have the additional aura, but it's just in there. I was like, yeah, maybe I can utilize it, but my Merc just was constantly overwriting all the curses with the Essence to touch anyway, so I just didn't bother to take it out. And then in the shield here, I just have Pyroclast Mine with Mindfield support. You'd like to use the Pyroclast Mine of Sabotage here if you are able to. That's far, far better. Like leagues ahead, miles ahead of this version. It's like 5 cents damage, and you can feel that if you put them down next to a boss. It's massively increased damage, and also Hydrosphere just for some exposure. It's not really too important. It's just some extra damage. And here, the reason I chose Hydrosphere or stuff like Wave Conviction is this gives an area that I get cold and lightning, so I can profit of both of these things and not be exclusive to stuff like fire or lightning. And it just felt better. I don't know. Wave probably is fine as well, but this just was okay. I felt like also just propagates all the ailments, so it helps a bit more with impulsor setups and stuff like this. And in the body, I was just using Anger with Wrath, another Enlighten here, Precision, and Skitterbots, which I'm not currently utilizing. I was trying to use the belt. As you can see here, there is a belt from one of the new bosses that supports Skitterbots and actually gives us mana restoration, which is great. You also get Mind Throwing Speed, which is great for the setup, and you also get Scorching Skitterbots, which is also great. And we have so much res that all the downsides don't really bother us too much. We can also be completely ailment immune if you wanted to, so all the shock and chill as well wouldn't matter too much, but I just felt like it didn't really fit too much. I didn't need them because he was already shocking and chilling enemies anyways. I already had the Maven Scorch boots on him anyways, so the belt was kind of redundant, so it was like, let me just get some more defense, right? And that's basically a setup I've been running here. I've just using Persecutor's Vigil. There are corruption on this, like for example the added lightning damage, which is really great in my opinion, but couldn't use anything. It works. It just works. It's a really good wand. You can craft one yourself with very high lightning damage to attacks. So I either just use Deafening Wrath Aura, Wrath Essence, and then craft spell damage on it. It works because every kind of wand skill always has spell damage conversion built in, so stuff like the Crown of Ice doesn't need to be on your Mercenary as far as I feel like, but keep in mind my testing was kind of limited on this. It's really hard to tell whenever your Mercenary is really affected by something or isn't, because we don't have any tooltips. We can only sort of like assume what we see in-game, and the things I could see in-game it was that the Crown of Ice didn't do anything. It just didn't change my damage at all. I'm also not sure if they actually need something like accuracy from precision or something. I felt like they do, but then again, I didn't feel like they did need that. Stuff like Lycoside shields, for example, were really good, but I don't know. It's really hard to tell, honestly, and I'm not sure. I was just giving them accuracy and was just not having this thought in my mind all the time. I felt that it was working great. Just giving the shield because it's like he's constantly shocking. He is getting loads of added lightning damage for this. It helps. Then here we have Carcass Deck. I used this right now because I was playing with Coiling Whispers right now. Basically, Coiling Whispers combined with Essence will just have them at 45 soldier stacks all the time. That also works for the player, of course, because these curses will remain on the corpses, would just eventually evaporate, which is the same thing you're doing in the setups for players, where you basically get the cooldown or the duration of the curse below 0.7 seconds or something, usually combined with the Blade of Thrusters, which is 0.7 seconds casting time, so that your curse runs out before you apply a new one. So this works the same way, just that the curse is just on a corpse, so you have to remain in range as well. It's not like 3 screens away would work. You have to be in sort of like a range of the curse, and then you will just get the stacks, and he will completely obliterate a map. It's crazy. Then just aiming for, again, more scaling. I'm giving him lots of flat damage, so I want him to have the most amount of increases as well. Then just here, just some Culling Strike, honestly, is 50% cull, is pretty good. Some critical chance as well. You could use something else here, but this just felt like a good choice, honestly. You can give him stuff like the Shaper's Amulet that makes the shrine effects last longer on them, because if you click a shrine, they don't just get the shrine effect as long as you have, they will get their separate shrine stuff, okay? So, for example, if you go here, I don't know where I have the Runegraft in. It's probably over here. Yeah, there we go. The Runegraft of the Warp. This will make buffs lasting 30% longer. Well, buffs expire slower, which is technically sort of the same unless you have more modifiers. So your shrines will last way longer than theirs, and their shrines will run out even though you have the shrines. So the initial assumption here that shrines would actually just be propagated to the Mercs isn't true. So that's kind of sad, but that's what it is. Also, as you can see my tree, I'll go over this in a second. I just want to show you the Merc. Here for the helmet, as like, again, I didn't really find any good helmets. There probably are quite a few of them, like nearby enemies take increased elemental damage or stuff like that. But honestly, I couldn't be bothered. Just put on a Redness, gave him more crit chance, and it was alright. It was good. It worked, right? And also here, as I mentioned in a prior video, you can put stuff like that on them that has damage that's on them. So any Dark Dimension Thorn with any attack damage rule will give them the damage to their character. This completely works. I'm 100% sure of this. And I just picked any jewel I had in my stash again. This wasn't planned, right? Nothing of this is just anything you have crafted. It's just stuff I've randomly found. So you can play way better stuff in trade, I'm sure. Like at least twice or 3 times the damage with like 1 divine of budget or something. It's crazy. And I'm pretty sure that with like 10 divines or something on a budget for the Merc and you combined, you can probably easily clear T17s. Maybe not like super easy, but remarkably easy compared to what you had to do on like normal characters. And I am certain I will never level a character differently than this setup. This is so much fun. You can just start this in the act as well, right? Most of the items can be worn very early, so whenever you can, just put them on, or just use normal auras and get yourself a kineticist into the story. I'm pretty sure like level 50 something is a really good breakpoint. Then they can wear most of their gear, as they have to be in like 20% range of the item. So if they had to wear like, let's say, a level 100 item, they had to be at least level 80 Merc, which usually is the case. But yeah, level 60, 50 something should be a really good breakpoint. So whenever you reach like part 2 of the story is a good time to look for a really good Merc, or try to look for kineticist. And then whenever you reach the end game, you can just wear your level 83 one once you reach level 63. So around like Kitava if you're decently fast. But yeah, so much to this. Again, my flask and setup is, which is the last thing I'll show for the character before we go into the passive tree, is very simple. Just life last, movement, speed. Honestly, nothing spectacular here. Just some chaos res, because my res is decent for most, but not for chaos, which is terrible, which is the thing you want to fix. It's also the main source of my deaths, basically, whenever I had chaos damage being dealt to me, as well as physical damage, because this doesn't have any physical mitigation. It's, again, not really planned to be a good character. The other tree, I was just going into all your reservation notes, as you can see. Because I was wearing a Svalin, I also opted in to go to most of the block notes and some life. You could probably improve this massively by just getting more life notes, have like recoup maybe even, just more defenses in general, maybe some next resistance or whatever, maybe some more life notes here. I was just using a natural instinct here because I had it, so why not? It's some more res, some more block, movement, speed. Not really essential. Nothing of this is really important. All these choosers have mana reservation on them, and that's it. Right? There's nothing more that's really beneficial to me other than the spell block here maybe. And the same goes for this jewel and the others as well. It's just reservation and some defenses if possible. Just went down here into the tree pad as well for, again, some block stuff here and here, some life, and the mana note here, which you could just have taken up here or something. And this part, Deep Thoughts, or for the tricksters over here would be Mind Drinker. But again, like, you can improve this massively. It's just a rough sheet I was just trying to throw out there as some sort of idea, because I found this remarkably fun and really good. So try it out yourself. I can't wait for to hear of you all. Just blasting through maps like this like crazy. Again, I love my Breach Atlas in the description, which is just easy for XP. It should only take you like 2 to 3 hours to level 90 plus or something if you're doing it decently well. Of course, in trade you can just buy leveling services like Legions or whatever, but this is pretty fun for the SSF players, and for me it's just really, really chill. Just level a character really, really fast to a high level without actually having to have an own build, because your Merc just does all the heavy lifting. And yeah, that's all there is to this. All I have to say for today. Okay, see ya next time. Bye bye. Have a good loot, fun, and PoE. And until next time. Bye bye.